your unneeded things can find a new life. It's easy to make some money or find a great deal.
You say goodbye, and I say hello.
Buy and sell almost anything from home. Mercari, your marketplace.
You look at decisions that this organization has made. The hiring of Mike Ditka comes to mind that we wanted to bring back a bear. Would it be, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there, could we see Harbaugh return as a coaching candidate for the Chicago Bears?
So number one, that would be the number one phone call I would make.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I would call Nathaniel Hackett from the Green Bay Packers. I would call Sean Payton from the New Orleans Saints.
Are you forgetting about somebody?
I would call Doug Peterson.
Are you forgetting about somebody?
Who is that somebody?
That would be me, but I'm not saying, I'm not interested in going to be a head coach. I'm not interested in it. I don't believe the rumors about being a head coach. I'm not saying it. I'm not commenting on it. You sit back and walk out there, you know. I mean, but here's the thing. But Harbaugh, I think, is a logical choice. They did it with Mike Ditka, and it worked. And the same kind of intensity and passion that they got from Ditka, they can get from Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh played quarterback under Mike Ditka in Chicago in the early 90s there. Mike Ditka was brought back as a Hall of Fame tight end by George Halas, the patriarch of that franchise once upon a time, and led them to what remains the only Super Bowl they ever won. As far as Nagy is concerned, the bottom line is this. He was brought there to mentor a young quarterback. That guy's name was Mitch Trubisky. At two quarterbacks already that it didn't wind up working out with. So while I don't sit here and call for anybody's firing, I wouldn't want anyone to do it to me. This one certainly makes sense. And I will say this, if they keep the general manager in place, that will be very unpopular amongst the fan base. Because that's the same general manager who drafted Trubisky ahead of Deshaun Watson and Mahomes and everything else that has gone wrong.
But the challenge, so I said week one. You guys know where I stood on that, Nagy. I thought that was the perfect example of why they needed to move on from him. The challenge for Chicago, when you choose to hire a new general manager, the cupboard is bare somewhat with that roster and picks. So you got to be fair to the new general manager and the new head coach to give them time to recuperate.
Their first round pick is with the Giants now. They traded up to get Justin Fields last year, but at least they have that building block in place. We'll see. Again, the news. Matt Nagy out in Chicago.
They just thought, he should be able to shred Jacksonville's defense. I mean, Jacksonville had 2 wins on the season coming in.
You are an electric vehicle. Electricity powers your heart. Want to feel your heartbeat faster? Drive an electric car, where the loudest sound is the beat of your electric heart. This is the new Nissan.
Have the tough game, and Carson would be throwing the
it's
ball
absolutely
all over the field,
a despicable display of football every time you watch this team play. They have a coach who's like, you know what? Everybody believes. People have faith. That's the hardest thing to do. You know why he says that? Because he can't win a freaking football game. He wants to come out, be Timmy Tough Nuts, look at my small chin, watch how tough I can be in the post-game press conference. How about you be tough during the game and actually stop somebody? How about you be tough during the game and actually score some freaking points? I'm so tired of Joe Judge. And listen, I wouldn't hate the Giants so much if I didn't hate Joe Judge so much. If he didn't always walk up like he was all swole and he was all big and bad all the damn time and lose every freaking game, I wouldn't even be upset if he was humble, right? If he wasn't arrogant, if he didn't act like he was Bill Belichick. You know what he is? Bill Belichick your ass out of the stadium because he's sorry as hell.
So he had the ball in his hands.
Dan and Rex, come on in. I'm not sure how you're going to follow that. It's an extremely but Rex, pick up the thought there, because for those of you who didn't see it and don't know what he's talking about, they ran consecutive quarterback sneaks backed up in their own end yesterday, relatively early in the game, maybe because they had taken a safety the week before. That's gross. One way or another. I mean, it's embarrassing, right? It's embarrassing.
I think it was their second best run of the day. So, I mean, that's why he's doing it. The guy's brilliant. All right, here's the thing. This is a proud franchise. One thing he's talked about, it really is. And this fan base deserves a heck of a lot better, and so do the owners of the Giants and everybody else. That's why, to me, there's no way. They want to keep this coach. They don't want to go through coaches every 2 years and on. They have no choice but to get rid of this guy. Why? He's embarrassed this franchise. And not just by the fact of that, hey, they've had 21 head coaches in this proud franchise history. All right? He's the first one. He's got one thing that he's accomplished. 6 straight games, they've given up double-digit losses. 6 straight games.
Yeah.
So to me, congratulations.
Colts losing to the Jaguars for a possible spot in the playoffs is probably the worst.
USAA is made for the safe pilots, like Matt, who can come to a stop with barely a bob. With USAA Safe Pilot, when you drive safe, you can save up to 30% on your auto insurance. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for. Get a quote today.
Zero surprise that Mike Zimmer, after 8 seasons in Minnesota, was let go.
So
obviously, it was a situation where most people felt like the time had come to move on from him. The surprise in Minnesota was that the Vikings moved on from their general manager, Rick Spielman, a long-time respected member of that organization. And Rick Spielman even had been doing legwork, making calls on head coaching candidates last week, making plans for the organization going forward. And without speaking to him today, my sense and guess would be that Rick Spielman was quite surprised to get the news that he was going to be a part of these changes in Minnesota, because he had plans to help move the organization forward and find the right head coach in the future. And he's not going to get that opportunity with Minnesota basically duplicating a play from Chicago's playbook and changing out its head coach and its general manager.
Throws, and it really felt like that whole game, actually, it felt like it just felt
you
like
are an electric vehicle. Electricity powers your heart. Want to feel your heartbeat faster? Drive an electric car, where the loudest sound is the beat of your electric heart. This is the new Nissan.
And a loss where he just couldn't get anything going. Finally,
I have
he got
always,
it going in the
from the
fourth
jump,
quarter.
come on and talked about the reasons why quarterbacks do things. Maybe their play is good. Here's a reason why. Play is bad. It's not an excuse. There's reasons. There's reasons why these interceptions are happening. I do not believe that all interceptions are the same, and I don't think that we should see them. There's interceptions that are bad decisions. There's interceptions that are bad throws, and then there's interceptions that once the ball leaves your hand, it's not necessarily on you. I'll ask you this. There's 14 cats in the playoffs. Who do you trust then? I mean, who do you trust? Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. You trust Patrick Mahomes. So you trust 3 cats? Joe Burrow, you trust? I trust Joe. You trust 4 of them. You trust Tannehill?
He's back.
No, you trust Tannehill. You trust Ryan Tannehill, but you trust Tannehill more than Matthew Stafford.
10 yards or less pass.
I got nothing then, because Ryan Tannehill threw 15 interceptions as well. Ryan Tannehill has been playing with me and you at wide receiver and people that play running back that weren't on the team at the beginning of the season. So is that an excuse or is that a reason? It's a reason. Okay, thank you. So there are reasons why Matthew Stafford's playing with Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., and Van Jefferson. He's got Tyler Higbee. He got 5,000 yards and 41 touchdowns. And he got picks for no reason. I am not getting here.
It's nothing that new for him either. He's been throwing interceptions pretty much every game for as long as I can remember.
Only beat them by 4
He has been.
I rock with
He
Charlie.
has been. He's been very inconsistent.
Charlie got Carson Wentz as a quarterback. She ain't got no excuses for nobody.
Yeah, I am not sitting here saying if someone has no that they have to seed in the playoffs. I agree with that. That is fair. The question was, do I think that he is going to get it done in the playoffs? I believe that he is going to get it done in the playoffs. If I'm wrong, I'm going to sit in here and I'm going to have another rough Monday morning and I'm going to need another glass of red wine Monday night. That's what's going to happen.
You're still just on the glass. I'm on the bottle now. After yesterday, I'm on the bottle.
All I'm saying is this, man. All I'm saying is
for them, the defense,
you are one of the best in the world at what you do. And actually the best at a lot of things.
That fumble.
What you're not rolling on right now is your quarterback. You had Baker, Carson, and Matthew.
Like for all the world,
you've been wrong, bro.
Just take the L.
Joe.
Dropped. Kansas City could have dropped all the way down to a 4 seed, which is crazy. All right, so now that we got sort of the AFC done.
If you want a lover, I'll do anything
let's just
you
talk about
ask
the
me
game of the week. Raiders and Chargers.
If you want a partner, take my hand. If you want to strike me down in anger,
90% of America wanted it to end.
Here I stand.
And for all the world there, it looked like it was going to end in a
Joel Spa, the new fragrance.
At the beginning.
You take pride in. I think it's one of those things where when you step on the field, you know, the thing about me, what makes it so cool is like now that I'm retired or when I got older in the league, you know, I would have younger kids or older kids come up and say, hey, I used to come to the game. My dad would come to the game just to watch you. So now that tells me that people understand standards. So as offensive linemen, we have to set standards. You know, I think about Trent. You know, Trent, you setting the standard of how offensive linemen should play. So once you leave, that's how everybody going to put the standard is set. This is the standard. We know what bad offensive line plays. So now people now today can watch and say, that's a bad offensive lineman. So I feel great to be a part of that conversation when people think of offensive linemen. You know, there are so many great offensive linemen, so many duos of offensive linemen, but the guys that did it the right way, where you know that's good offensive line play. So it feels great to be a part of those types of topics where people saying what is good offensive line play, and you can name guys and say, okay, I know when this offensive line guys were together, these guys was good. So for me personally, that feels good. You know, you approach it by just trying to do everything right every time you step out the door.
Drops too. It seemed like Chargers were just nervous in general. It just, for a quarter and a half, it looked like it was going to be one of those games where one team doesn't show up because they're just not in it, mentally they're too nervous. And the Raiders came out really relaxed,
take my hand,
really well.
if you want to strike me down anger.
But let's talk about
Here I
some of the
stand.
decisions the Chargers made,
I'm
especially
your
play
man.
calling-wise.
Joel Spa, the new
They were able
fragrance.
to turn it around
Brian,
in
who
that
do you
second
think is
quarter,
going to have the
They
tougher
get the
path
lead,
to make it to the
14-10.
Super Bowl? The Packers
Defensively,
or the Chiefs?
not
The Kansas City
a very
Chiefs.
good end to the half
You know
for
why?
the Chargers. They
Because they
allowed
ain't that
Derek
good.
Carr just to basically run
That's
down
why.
the field.
Because it's not
Score a
because
touchdown right
it's
off the
not
bat.
because it's not the Kansas City
Chargers get
Chiefs
the
team
ball at
that
the
we've
start of
seen
the
the
half,
last 3 years. It's not the
and
Patrick
they're only down a
Mahomes
field
that
goal,
we've seen for the last 3 years.
17-14.
This defense,
They have this
when you look at the last 3
long,
weeks of the
extended
season,
drive.
isn't
They're
playing the
clearly
caliber of
clicking,
football they were playing
and it gets
during
to
their
be a fourth
8-game
down,
win streak where they were
fourth
holding.
down, sort
But
of
Ryan,
medium.
Tyrann Matthew said that he thought that this
And
version
I
of the Chiefs
know
defense was the best that they've
Chargers
been.
coach
It had been for 7
thought
straight weeks,
process
right?
on
When they
this,
were holding
be
people
aggressive,
under 12
take the
points per
lead.
game.
He's
But we
thinking
look, so
if
you
they
go
can
to
just
Los
get that
Angeles and you
lead
don't
to
have
start
guys
out the
like
quarter,
Chris Jones. You don't
it's
have
gonna
a guy
add
like Willie Gay
pressure,
Jr.
right?
L'Jarius
It's gonna add
Sneed
pressure
has
to
to
Derek
leave for
Carr
personal
to
reasons and you don't
continue
play
to
well
score,
there. And then
and
you
it's
go and
gonna
get
loosen his
absolutely
team up.
shellacked against the Cincinnati
problem with
Bengals,
that
and you
thinking
walk
for me
into
is,
Denver,
like,
you're
if you
fighting for the
don't
number
kick that
1
field goal,
overall
if you
seed and
don't
playing
tie
against a
it
team
at
who has a
17
coach
apiece,
that won't be the coach the
mean,
next day, playing against a
you've
team that
just
won't be
wasted,
playing
like, a
the next day,
6-minute
that has their
drive
backpack, trying to figure out how to get
for
out of
no
Denver and get to
points.
some
The
remote
Raiders
island
are
where they can
still
post
in the
Instagram
lead,
pictures,
and it
and you let that
actually
become a
takes the
dogfight.
pressure off of
If
the
you don't
Raiders,
turn the
'cause
football
they're
over, it's not a
still in the
huge
lead.
play
It's not
by
tied. They don't
Bolton
really-
and Melvin
I mean,
Ingram.
obviously
Maybe
wanna
you
score
aren't
on the
even
next
sitting
drive,
at
but
number
it's
2 for the playoffs.
necessary.
Is this team still really
And the
good? Yes.
philosophy
Do I
of
believe this
scoring
team
the
is still the
touchdown to get
favorite
up,
in the
let's say
AFC? I
21
do.
to
But this team may have to go on the
21-17,
road
sorry,
for the first time in Patrick
is
Mahomes'
even
playoff
if they
career.
score that
This team has to
touchdown,
play in the first week
it
of the
adds
playoffs
the
of the
same
first
amount of
time in
pressure
Patrick Mahomes'
if they had
first
scored the field goal
playoff
or
career.
the
And I think
touchdown
that
at
is going to
point,
be difficult
right?
for this team to
If you
overcome.
don't
Now, if they're
score
sitting
at
in
all,
SoFi in February, will I
then
be
the
surprised?
confidence
Hell
for the
no. Will it
Raiders
be difficult?
just, like,
Absolutely.
skyrockets. And for your team, it goes down exponentially as well. So it's like a reverse effect. So wouldn't you want to
USAA is made for the safe
get to
pilots,
17
like Sergeant
all?
Hayden, who won't return a call until
You
the
know,
engine's
both
cool.
teams then,
With
even
USAA
playing
Safe
field,
Pilot,
and
when you
at
drive
the
safe,
time
you
it
can
really
save up
felt
to
like the
30% on your auto
Chargers were
insurance.
starting to
USAA, what you're made of, we're made for. Get a quote today.
and that totally
Your
stopped
thoughts
it.
on Jim
Let me know
Harbaugh,
what you guys
and
think in the comments.
do you have a
about
coach
that
in
decision. I
mind
think that was probably the worst
as you made this
decision
move?
for
I
Staley
have no
of the
coach in mind
season
at this point. We're
and
going to do a thorough,
the game, because
review
after that
and
point,
interview process.
basically from the third quarter into
And
the
that
middle of the
Jim
fourth
Harbaugh,
quarter,
I love Jim
it was pretty
Harbaugh.
much the same
Had the opportunity
game
once
as what was
before it
happening
comes
in the
to
first
the
quarter, where
Miami Dolphins.
the Chargers just could not get anything going.
He's at the
and the
University of
Raiders
Michigan,
built up the
as
lead
everybody really knows, and I guess
29-14.
that's really
So
one of my really
after that decision, not
that
to
is
go
my
for the
the
field
school I
goal,
graduated
close
from,
to
and I'm
the
very
point,
involved in it. And I'm
the
not going to be the
Raiders,
person that takes Jim Harbaugh
and
to the University of
like
Michigan.
all of
I
you,
hope he stays
and I
there.
was
He's a
sort of
great
like, okay, well,
coach.
congrats to the Raiders. We're not going to get the tie we all wanted, but, it really looked like there was no way the Chargers were going to come back.
The human body is an electric vehicle. So is this Nissan. And it's the same tech in here that inspires the tech in every EV we build. Can you feel your heart racing?
And then out of nowhere, he was just throwing.
I think Brian Flores was looking to make changes on the coaching staff that obviously others in the organization, I don't believe, agreed with. And so I think there was some disagreement over which coaches to keep and which coaches to move on from. I think there was discussions there. I think there were discussions about how power would be shared. And look, the fact of the matter is, I think Brian Flores knows he's in a great position, because if the Miami Dolphins don't want him, I can assure you that another team that has an opening or will have an opening certainly would be interested. We could go down the line and think, where would Brian Flores be a fit other than basically anywhere? Would he fit in Chicago with the culture there? I would say yes. Would he fit in Houston potentially if the Texans decide to make a change with their former Patriots general manager Nick Caserio, Jack Easterby? Would Brian Flores fit there? I would say yes. Would he fit in Denver? Yeah. I mean, you could just go down the list and he would fit anywhere. So I would expect Brian Flores to be interviewed and potentially even hired during this next hiring cycle. Not hard to imagine all that. The Dolphins felt like they needed to go a different direction. Their general manager, Chris Greer, is safe. He'll help lead the search with Tom Garfinkel, the team president, Stephen Ross. A lot of people have wondered, Dolphins clearing space for Jim Harbaugh, the Michigan coach, as Jeff Darlington reported. That's not the plan. Steve Ross is not interested in poaching Jim Harbaugh from the University of Michigan, taking that head coach from the school that he loves. So don't look at that as a possibility right now. But we knew that this would be a busy morning, but perhaps it was a little bit busier than people expected in a concentrated period of time, with the Miami Dolphins leading the way, making a change that a lot of people didn't see coming, moving on from Brian Flores, the head coach, allowing him essentially to go be a coaching free agent, where I would think he's going to get a lot of interest.
More of a tentative approach with the Jacobs run game, and it felt like they were playing really far back.
If you want a lover,
didn't have their
I'll do anything you ask me to.
Opportunity. And
if you want a partner, take my hand, or if you want to strike me down in anger, here I stand. I'm your man.
Joe, I'm spoiled. And you fragrance.
The Niners are the team nobody wants to play, right? And it's the Cowboys who draw them.
It's a bad matchup for the Dallas Cowboys. It's a bad matchup for anybody in the NFC. I think it's mostly a bad matchup for the Cowboys because the Cowboys' strength is their pass rush by the front. Well, that run game is going to minimize that a little bit. A brilliant coach in Kyle Shanahan is going to do everything he can to try to minimize the impact of number 11, Micah Parsons. How many different things can you get him to look at to play a little slower? The screen game. Maybe you try to get him running sideline to sideline and the counter action. I also think he's really good at finding weaknesses of a defense people-wise and attacking those guys. Anthony Brown has been attacked on that coverage, right, 30 for a long time. So I just think it's a really bad matchup for the Dallas Cowboys. Again, I think it's a bad matchup for everybody in the NFC. I think in today's football, anytime you find a team that is built on physicality, they're bad matchups, right? We've gotten into this point where we want to see run and gun. We want to see things spread out. And when you have a team that can directly attack you downhill, it's difficult. But like Dan mentioned, the things that Kyle Shanahan can make you see pre-snap. When we watched the film that Dan just put up, it was about pre-snap motion, right? It was about making sure you put people in bad position. Kyle Shanahan finds the matchups that are favorable to him, and he does them in a way where he accentuates the positive of his star players, and we saw that yesterday. I think as I sit here today on Monday, like if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't throw that "what were you thinking" interception where we just sometimes I think this 49ers win the football game.
Brackets with the Raiders winning, they get to play Cincinnati now, but if they just played for the tie, they would play the Chiefs. Like, obviously the Raiders have a better chance against Cincinnati. It's still a tough game, but they don't want to play the Chiefs where they've destroyed this season. Especially
if you want a partner, take my hand, or if you want to strike me down in anger,
they were going to run that ball.
Here I stand.
It's just that they seemed so
your
Raiders
man.
seem so disjointed.
Joe, I'm Spo. Then you fragrance.
Going to be that as that play
This
clock
loss is on the shoulders of Carson
Raiders
Wentz.
are going to call a timeout. That's who's
Takes a lot for me to say that. Okay, so listen, I think this is one of the more recent.
Coach Staley.
Give him a hug. Give him a hug. I'm growing. That's BS.
One of the worst losses in recent NFL memory. I think it's probably one of the worst losses in the history of the Colts organization.
That triggered the Raiders.
Everybody has a hand in this loss.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You're not a playoff caliber team and go and lose to a 2-win team because somebody played well. Your offensive line got whooped, 7 sacks. Receivers didn't get separation. Couldn't run the football. Your defensive line didn't get after Trevor Lawrence. You got no coverage that was good. This team led the NFL in takeaways defensively. The Jaguars were the worst team as far as giveaways. They got 0. Okay. That being said, Carson Wentz is not the reason that the Colts lost this game. He's also not the reason the Colts won this game. And he was brought there to be the reason in this type of game, the difference maker in this type of game. I didn't go on television and say that I believed in and trusted Carson Wentz just because of the past. I honestly did. I believed that he was going to take that step forward to being a great player again. He was good this year. He was okay in this game. He was never great, and the Colts expected greatness.
Because you don't want to give the Chargers a chance near midfield with 20-some seconds left. You know what I mean? That whole ending, I do feel like there were a lot of mistakes made by Coach Staley of the Chargers. I think he should
If
have
you wanna
the
love
blame because
I'll do
while the start for the
anything
Chargers
you
was not good, that was to be
ask me
expected.
to.
Like Herbert was expected.
If
not
you
play
wanna
that great
partner,
at the start.
take
I mean,
my
he would've
hand.
played amazing.
If you wanna strap me down
That's
an
amazing.
angle,
Really deserves,
here I stand.
He's still young.
I'm your man.
Joe, I'm Spo. Then you fragrance.
And you're going up against the Raiders, who
And Rex Ryan
are much more of the experienced team.
Well, I'm going to say this. First off,
And I
we're
think it
being
really
robbed
showed, not only
as
in
NFL
that,
fans that we don't get to see Justin Herbert in the playoffs.
Who robbed us?
The guy with the, well, you know who it was? The dude with the small hat, little hat right there that has no clue. We talked about, this is what he's done all year. Yeah, exactly. This guy coaches like he's a Division III coach that nobody cares about. All right, it's hard not to make the playoffs with a franchise quarterback. But congratulations, you did it. How he faces his football team after this one is incredible to me. Look, the Raiders were content. They were going to take the time. They absolutely were going to take time. But homeboy sits there, timeout. What? Timeout. You're brilliant with those timeouts. You got a way better football team than you got beat by, and you lost. You're at home. I just think it's ridiculous. And here's the thing. People praise him. I'm old school. Rich, you're old school. This guy gets it. Yeah. This dude, I mean, he has no idea. He's got no experience. He got nothing. And to me, you inherited a team. All right. You were born on third base, think you hit a triple. That's this cat right here.
Points without batting an eye. But at the same time, both teams have that ability just to walk into a game and pretty much just do nothing.
Fuel your grind with Gatorade's proven formula and the right blend of electrolytes to help you on your journey to greatness.
And Cincinnati, right?
If anybody just looks at the result, they'll say, well, yeah, it's expected. But I'll tell you what, up until the goalkeeper made a horrendous error from a Harry Winks free kick. Yes, it was a great ball that was thrown in from a wide area, but he wasn't trying to score. The goalkeeper's completely misjudged the flight, stepped towards it, realised he's going to get under it, and all of a sudden the ball's in the back of the net, and it's 1-1, and you know it's over. I certainly didn't think it would be over before the 90 minutes, but my goodness, was it ever. First came back with a bang and ended up getting 3 goals. It looks comfortable on paper, but I'll tell you what, before the likes of Harry Kane came on, this was very uncomfortable. Spurs were not the best at all.
But they get blown out by Jacksonville. Then we have Cincinnati, who could wrap up the 3 seed, decide to rest.
USAA is made for the safe pilots, like Matt, who can come to a stop with barely a bobble. With USAA Safe Pilot, when you drive safe, you can save up to 30% on your auto insurance. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for. Get a quote today.
Down the stretch as the 1 seed, and I think a lot of people can agree Tennessee is much more of the vulnerable team to be upset than Kansas City as the 2 seed, so it's actually sort of a benefit.
We're so used to Mohamed Salah stepping up on penalty kicks.
Oakland,
no surprise.
Las Vegas.
As Liverpool won this game, we expected it. Yes, as you said, they got a little bit of a fright when they went behind, but the game was never going to be in any doubt. And so I guess the one thing we did learn is who's taking the penalty kicks if Salah's not either there, injured, suspended, whatever it may be. And the answer is Fabinho.
There we go.
So that's really the only